Okay, so unbeknownst to most people, did Asta actually see Lucita, aka his mom, aka does Asta know about his mom? Like, yes, people, we gotta talk about this right now because this is very big, this is major, this is very important in terms of the latest stuff in Black Clover, but also the catastrophe, the drama, the madness, everybody going in with Asta putting the beats on Lucifero.
Is this your game?
And here's some craziness. You ready? I'm gonna blow your mind. We're gonna start off with theories that are just popping out of nowhere right now as we're talking about this. What if Lucita actually knew Lucifero all along, or had some sort of connection? And it could even be further. Who knows? Maybe that was actually the dad to begin with of these kids. Or that's just me adding extra context to a story that honestly made a villain that could have been the greatest or really awesome, at the very least, a cool villain, into, oh yeah, can we move on now? And don't get me wrong, I know Tabata always marches on no matter what with Black Clover. It always moves with the motto, no matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. So let's start off with getting the negativity out the way first about Black Clover lately, and that's the fact of what just went down with the defeat of Lucifero in one of the latest chapters of Black Clover, him taking the beats from Asta. It was like back-to-back chapters of essentially Asta making him his biatch. And to a certain degree, it was massive cringe in terms of, oh my god, what just happened here? How did the king of devils, the king of demons, this monstrosity of a quote-unquote king, go from literally making all of the captains his little foot servant into, I'm going to come back someday and get you, I'm like Naraku from Inuyasha. Like, what? I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm gonna keep it real like I always do. I love Black Clover, I love Asta, I love Yuno. Yami is one of my favorite anime characters of the last decade or so. Like, it just is what it is. I love this series. I will battle this series against anybody that tries to take a dump on the series. But with that being said, I'm also a realist. I also critique things. I also have to give my input, and my input is that if it leaves off like this, which there's a very strong possibility that they're just yanking our chain, and next week it's going to go into a big plot twist, and that's probably going to be the case. But yeah, it's right now looking so disappointing and so disturbing that, oh my god, there was so much potential and opportunity to do something with this villain, and instead they kind of just flushed it down the toilet with, yeah, he took an L, a massive L, he's just a walking L. Like, legitimately, he actually took the L against Asta in such a way that I'm just like, what? It feels as though, and I don't know at what given point, because there's several different like discrepancies of some fans say it was this point, that point, but somewhere down the road in this arc of Black Clover, there was a certain turn point that it's just been like no return. And I don't know if that's when one of the recent or the recent current editor right now of Black Clover came on board or something like that, because things changed so drastically in comparison to what like Black Clover in 2020 was. Black Clover in 2022 is just like like in particular, especially with Lucifero, like, who is this dude? What's going on here? Again, there's room to build up and there's room for things to happen even further. It's not completely set in stone that he's gone, and I feel like the cheap plot twist is coming ultimately of like, nah, things is worse than ever. But oh my god, like with the latest chapter of Black Clover 329, Lucifero is just like almost as if it's a recreation of Frieza on Namek when he was like half a body without an arm, and Goku goes, you fool. Honestly, it just felt ridiculous with Lucifero. Like, who are you? Who is this? There could have been such a great potential of a connection, and that's why I started off this video where I was yanking a chain. I'm like, yo dog, what if Lucita, because if you think about it, kind of connect the way they sound and whatnot, and I'm grasping at straws, I know, but Lucifero, Lucita, it kind of all goes into the Lucifer type of name scheme thing. So who knows? It could very well be that there's some sort of connection. It could be that he's her older brother, somehow he knows this, or something along the lines of that. And then there's also that second Supreme Devil King. Kind of makes me wonder what's his connection to all of this as well, which we'll talk about that in a second. But nevertheless, honestly, Lucifero is so disappointing to me that he had traits of like a Madara, and y'all know how I feel about Madara. If you don't, Madara is Zagoto desu ne. Why did I add the ne? Todos yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Ya tu sabe, mijo, yo puedo hablar cualquier mierda. Yeah, I could kind of speak a couple different languages. Could kind of do a little pigland as well. Inksnay, oinksnay, Lucifero sucks, yay. Seriously, dog, Tabata, he wet the bed with this one lad, and I love a lot of different aspects of these things, and I think that there's a potential for a setup for something even more grandioso. But as it stands right now, and this is all I'm talking about is right now, I'm telling you, potentially Lucifero could turn into something even grander down the road if Tabata decides that this isn't completely the end. But as it stands right now, Lucifero is disappointing. Who was he? What was the point? He's just like a husk of like, hey, a mustache twirler out of nowhere. And I'm like, and I get it that some people are gonna be mad at my opinion of like, hey, I don't really care for what happened right now in this series that I really love and I really rock with and support. But You know, that's my opinion, and I'm trying to be rational with you guys here. I don't know, considering ever since like the end of the Elf arc, and it kind of had certain issues with that grand finale, so to speak, as well, I've been coming to expect from Black Clover that things probably aren't always going to go the way I would hope, in terms of not necessarily like, hey, it should happen this way. I would just want to feel that it is a good and well-written pathway, and right now I'm just kind of like, dog, Lucifero took the L and moves me over to the Supreme Devil from the second level. That, what about if there's a connection in terms of family? What about if that's actually their father and he just doesn't age? Maybe that's, you know, Asta's father and like Leeb's surrogate in terms of Lucita. It could also be in terms of Lucita, again, that whole crazy theory that I mentioned earlier of Lucita and Lucifero. Maybe they're parents to these two or something. That's why he was hunting him down. I will say, of all of this, the shining moment that Tabata is just, oh my god, this is amazing, so great, I loved it, it got me sad, it really legitimately had me teary-eyed and watery-eyed, and that's why I'm so split of like, oh my god, it was so good, it was so sad, was the Lucita moments again of her explaining to Leeb about her son and how she has this issue and this is why she had to get rid of him and that she'll never stop loving him, and even talking about it right now gets me a little bit emotional, so I'm gonna stop, because legitimately Tabata did an excellent job on that. That was just phenomenal. It's just surrounded and wrapped in like Lucifero horse manure, because again, there's possibility for him to be something further, and I have no doubt that they're going to possibly do something to rectify the fact that he just feels like a wet blanket. Like, here's the thing, right? Remember we had problems with the end of the Elf arc of like, oh my god, Julius is still alive, but there was still a silver lining there of like, he is still alive, but he's power-wise worthless to us now, so there was some type of cost. I don't think necessarily Tabata is gonna go in this one without having some type of cost. There has to be. And let's not forget the possibility that Asta is already seeing his mother, or already knows that Lucita was his mother, or at the very least, even if his then self doesn't necessarily know that that's Lucita, his mom, he knows, hey, there's a woman that looks like me. Let's be real, Asta is the type that would look at her, see her, he'll be like, oh my god, who is that woman? She looks nothing like me, because he's just an imbecile. But what if he actually was seeing those memories? Because remember, they are no longer overlapping. Him and Leeb have fused, so maybe there's a huge possibility he was able to see Leeb's memories and actually witness that mother that he was talking about, and also hear that story. But again, Asta's so silly that even if he heard the story, he would be like,
お前すんごい老け顔だな。今までどんだけ苦労したんだい?
dude, that's your mom, that's your story right there, your backstory, like, Nani? But we gotta wait and see. Either way, Black Clover chapter 329, 328, it's just kind of right now having me like, Tabata, why Lucifero? All the while, I'm crying there like, Lucita, I'm so sorry, I wish I could have saved you, I love you. And it's quite sad that I almost feel like I was just making fun of myself, so we'll get out of my mind. But in all seriousness, folks, like, there's some good and some bad in the latest stuff, but that's not necessarily to persecute the series as a whole, or to say like, hey, like, I'm completely done with it, because there's still a possibility to clear things up. Again, the Supreme Devil from the second level, which I think Tabata is going to do something special with him. There could be connections to Asta, to Leeb, somewhere around there, a brother, a father, something there could be related. We gotta wait and see. Curious what you guys think, though. Do you think that that's a brother, father, relative? How do you feel about Lucifero? I mean, Lucifero, your thoughts on that? Did you cry with the Lucita backstory? And just in general, how do you feel where Black Clover is going right now? I like that Yuno had a moment and a little bit of impact in all of this stuff as well, with the star magic and all of that. With Lucifero, it's just kind of like, yo, dog, you were supposed to be the one that brought order to a lot of chaos, and I mean in terms of writing, you were supposed to be like the silver lining. Like, you know, in the war of the fourth grade shinobi, a lot of people at the time were saying when Madara showed up, he saved the war. That was supposed to be Lucifero, and instead he came dookied on himself and said, ooh, I dookie, no fight no more Asabi, and that was the end of it. And your thoughts and expectations for the future Black Clover chapter 330 and beyond. Damn, Tabata, damn. Why are you making me cry and mad at the same time? That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and Tabata, do better, please. And subscribe and hit that bell for all notifications. That way you can check my next Black Clover video. Have an awesome one.
Is this your game?
Oh, you should totally, like, subscribe.